Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Dawnbringers, The Forge of Fury, Season 2, Episode 4, Breaching the Mountain. This is our campaign series happening every Thursday right here on twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But of course, you know that because you're here. And if you're wondering what happened to all our other games, every single one of our previous games, Season 1's Sunless Citadel, Season 2's first 3 adventures, or rather episodes, are all available on youtube.com/Mini Terrain Domain. And I'm going to go ahead and throw up the links there into the chat here on Twitch, so you can check that out. If you want to subscribe to the YouTube page, check out the Facebook page, or be sure to follow the Twitch channel here to stay up to date every time we actually go live, which is a minimum currently of 3 days a week. Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I'm working on getting a schedule for some other content as well. But of course, if you follow me on at MTD_Jake, that link is also in there on Twitter, you'll stay up to date on all of that. And of course, if you follow each and every one of these people, these fine people, at their Twitter handles, which are not in the overlay. Usually I put those in the overlay, but guess what? If you type ! and any one of their names in the chat, it'll bring up all of their information. You can also type in their character information. Scotty, we forgot to get some Griveth info. I'll give you the details for that later, but we'll get that in there too. Also, one final thing, you can see the scroll across the bottom that explains the domain dice, which are these kind of glowing dice up above my head that they currently have 22 of. We'll go ahead and throw in those into the chat so you can see. For donations of 500 bits or $5, the donation bar is down below the video. You can purchase domain dice for the players that allow them a variety of re-rolling options, all explained in the chat and in the scroll down below. So, we are going to go ahead and I'm just going to say, let's get right into it. We're going to recap and we're going to roll right into the game. We'll do some introductions and whatnot when we take a break in a little while. So we're going to get right into this. Who would like to bring us up to speed for a point of inspiration? Who would like to attempt the recap? I don't remember who did it last week. It was Ted that did it last week. Any takers for a point of inspiration on the recap?
I'll do the recap.
All right, Scotty's going to take it away.
All right. It was my triumphant return, and I had been on my personal pally quest. I had done a couple things from last campaign. I had taken a seed from the Gulthias tree, which may not be such a good idea. That Cantriel advised me that may not be a great idea since this thing was totally cursed, and a vampiric tree, so that's not good. I took Treepo to try to be resurrected. That didn't work out. It wasn't in the cards. It wasn't in the fates. I also renamed my sword Bradford's Honor because I murdered him accidentally. I basically smited him and exploded him into like a million pieces. So I felt really guilty about that. So, so I renamed my sword Bradford's Honor. It's a +1 blade that does criticals on items. So that's a pretty cool ability, actually. Now, I made my way back. I don't know if my encounter with when I leveled up to level 5, my encounter in this crystal cave that I went into, I met Eldath, the spirit of Eldath. I was kind of cleansed. I was kind of like baptized. And when I woke up, I wasn't in the cave, and I don't know if it was a dream, if I had like a dream quest, or I actually went there. So, but anyways, as I make my way back to the group, I had visions, dreams, horrible portents and omens, and waking dreams and that kind of thing. And so I finally made my way back, and there had been a horrible orc attack. and the players were recovering. The other players were recovering from that, and they were burning the bodies of the orcs and that kind of stuff, cleaning up the mess. We had Ted roll a really bad casualty roll, so we lost a lot of people in the town. But so I come in. Cantriel sees me. I see her. We run up, and I drag her back into the inn, and I'm grabbing Cantriel, I'm grabbing Talmud, and the hi everybody, and I look around, and there's this other dwarf here, even shorter than Talmud, and we got this mechanical person that I was a little leery of, because I don't know, it's not a real. I was kind of like, it's not a real person, but I basically came around. I said, any friend of the parties is a friend of mine, right? So let's do this. So then Cantriel, I talked to Talmud about um, my plan with the seed. I want to use the seed. I want to cleanse the seed. I'm on this quest to cleanse the seed, and I want to cleanse the seed so that Vi's soul can she can have peace. She can rest from this horrible tragedy that happened in her past. That's my kind of goal with it. My goal was to give the tree to Cantriel, because Talmud tell me if I give a tree to an elf, then they'll fall in love with me. Okay. So unbeknownst to me, Cantriel had learned Dwarvish, so I'm speaking to him in Dwarvish, thinking, no, she's never gonna know what we're talking about. She does. She gets upset at me. She goes outside and then meets this kind of shady character, this tiefling, and he's got these gold robes, and I don't know, I don't trust this. We'll see what happens. But he wants us to get some stuff from the location we're going to, the Shattered Spear. What is it?
The Stone Tooth.
The Stone Tooth, right? I was going to say the Shattered Spear, the Stone Tooth. So we're going to the Stone Tooth, and he wants her to get some stuff from there. So he's offering her more money to get other things, like a map, I think it was, or something. So we kind of wind down for the night. I apologize to Cantriel. I tell her she knows about the seed, and she's upset about the seed, and I'm like, oh, I can deal with it. I got this. And she there's some weird thing I noticed too that I didn't really approach. I wasn't really catching it, that she was saying that I smelled weird, right? I had this weird smell, and I thought it was just the road. I'd been traveling, for weeks. I thought it was just the road, but maybe there's something else going on. I think we're going to find out that maybe we'll find out that tonight. But so we rest up. We head out in the morning. The dwarves got a little drunk, so we got a little later start than maybe I would have wanted to. But we got going, and we're heading off to our quest now. And then we see this weird thing in the clouds, like a storm is happening ahead of us, and everybody sees something different. So it was pretty interesting. And I'm not going to tell you what that is. You're going to have to watch the last episode at the end and see what we all say. So yeah, but that's the recap. That's the recap.
Fantastic. Excellent. Take your point of inspiration. Well earned for bringing us. It's exceptionally well done, considering you were not in the first two sessions. You were able to recap some of that. So, which, of course, everybody can get up to speed by watching the first 3 episodes on YouTube.
That's what I did. I watched their episodes, so I was up to speed.
And this video will be posted. The VODs go up approximately 2 days later. I try to get these up on Saturday or Sunday. So you'll be able to catch this one later if you jump in a little bit late. All right, so
I'll have you know that Thorgarn did not sleep through. He was up and about, early without a problem.
And as was mentioned, you each, as you're making your journey north of Blazing Dell, and the sun at your back, the high sun, is making the distant northern storm clouds seem ever more dark, and the white stone of the Stone Tooth shine brightly, and each of you see your specific visions within the clouds, each of you seeing something different. As you begin traveling north from the mining town of Blazing Dell, you pass through brooding pine forests and deep vales. until eventually, after a couple of hours, so it's mid to late afternoon now, from where you stand now, you can catch sight of the full, tall, steep hill that rises to this prominent bare knob of rock, this thing that is known as the Stone Tooth. And you can actually see slightly closer to you a thin spire of smoke rising from some unseen point somewhere on the hills. You can't quite tell exactly where it's coming from. You can also just make out a steep, narrow road or track that runs back and forth, zigzagging up the face of the mountainside. As you approach the Stone Tooth Mountain, would you like to attempt to follow this path that you can see? Would you like to scout the area, or do you want to take a wait and watch approach? What would you like to do? Or something else, some fourth option that you guys undoubtedly could conspire?
How large was the group of orcs that attacked Blazingdale?
Say that again?
How large was the group of orcs that attacked Blazingdale?
Large enough to kill 122 people.
I think in the immediate area, you guys were dealing with less than, maybe you had the orc chief, and then you had about a half a dozen in and around the area. But more than a dozen had attacked in various areas of that side of Blazingdale. And with most of the town not being seasoned heroes, but miners and civilians, the orcs were basically able to run in and rampage, and in just moments cut down, each orc cutting down several people.
So I think Talmud might be kind of looking at one of these dead aurochs that they were riding, and kind of, where some of the bodies have been piled to burn. He says, they killed a lot of people. So there had to be dozens of them, if not hundreds. Which means that they left a trail, especially if they were riding these thingies. And he kind of kicks it with his boot. That should be a pretty easy trail to follow. Could lead us right to him.
So, Talmud, these two, better than I. What kind of woodsman folk do you have? Do we have skilled trackers? Do we have those that might be able to follow?
The elf is, all trees and stuff, but she just sings. She's pretty handy with a sword and a pinch, but as good as an elf can be.
I mean, I'm an okay tracker, but I wouldn't say I'm great.
Well, it's not really following animals around, but maybe she can do it. He's going to call over to Cantriel. Oh, Cantriel?
Yes.
Can you see these marks in the ground here?
I'm assuming this is the conversation that happens while we're on the road, so that as we're approaching the tooth, we can be looking to see whether we're seeing any tracks or any of that kind of stuff.
You mean the tracks of those large, ugly beasts? Yes.
Yes. I know your people sometimes do things with animals and plants and things. So are you able to, I don't know, sing to the tracks or something? Or
Oh, I can sing to something, but it's not going to get you what you want.
He kind of looks at Griveth. Just leave the poor lad alone.
I'm not the one toying with emotions now, am I? Or leading him on with suggestions as to what to do. Are you asking if I can track these animals?
Yes.
Well, guess what? The answer is yes, but not because I'm an elf.
Oh, okay. Is it something that they teach you in your Bard College, or?
No, it isn't.
Oh, she's got secrets. Sorry.
Don't we all? How
He
far do
kind
you
of
want to
flusters.
track?
I don't know. Wherever the trail ends, I suppose.
Do you need
Well-
help? Do you need help, Cantriel? I have some outdoor skills.
Are you able to keep quiet is the better question.
That sometimes is the issue.
What kind of armor? Remind me what kind of armor Griveth is wearing.
Chainmail.
Oh,
It's not plate, so it's not quite a pike trick foot. Cling 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 cling
Right,
cling.
like-
I'm in scale mail, so
So Thorgarn, are you at disadvantage then?
I do believe so.
yeah.
All right, so Cantriel, are you going to do some scouting along the way,
Yeah, I can do some scouting.
or rather
and,
tracking?
some tracking. And we are in the forest right now, right?
You're kind of so. I'll say this: the journey. You guys are. You've already traveled for a couple hours. The initial tracking of the aurochs and the orc tracks outside of town and to the north was relatively easy. Following these paths that lead towards the Stone Tooth. But at the area where you are now, where you emerge from these pine forests and you're kind of looking upon the hills that are the Stone Tooth, the tracks kind of intermingle with other tracks that are a bit older, and so you'll need to make a survival check to see if you can suss out these tracks.
Okay.
Do they look like they're going up that path?
Well, that's what Cantriel's trying to determine right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the question for if we're in forest is because that was the favored terrain that I picked for the ranger factor.
For the forest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll allow you to use that because you're kind of right there at the edge of the forest. So
Okay. Because then that gives me
that gives
So
you
it's gonna make the terrain
advantage.
easier. It's gonna make the training easier for everyone for the party, and it gives me I think it is double for the perception, or not for the perceptions, but for the checks. Let me just.
Is it double proficiency or advantage?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
I want to say it's advantage, but
Mm,
Or
It depends on which version of the ranger you use.
well, I can find twice as much food, and it's double. Your proficiency bonus is doubled.
You are
for
correct.
Proficient skills with you make initiative and wisdom checks.
all right. Jake, do you allow someone who is also proficient to assist to grant advantage on the roll?
I will allow that.
Okay,
So-
so roll one gets it, or roll both. Roll 2d20, we're saying, and then add double proficiency.
Yep. Yep.
She
So-
can speak pretty one day.
Yep.
All right.
You're rolling
so
at
what am I-
advantage with double proficiency.
Okay. Very cool. So that's going to give me an 18. And then hold on, add to that. That's going to be 24.
These tracks, despite to an untrained eye that it could look like in areas like there's just a muddy mess, you're able to determine which tracks belonged to the orcs and the aurochs that descended not from the mountain path, but from up in the hills. You kind of to the south and east, you see a few separate sets of orc tracks that lead off into the forest, but not along the path. Most likely some type of hunting or foraging party. And those appear to be a little bit older. And then you see some heading off in the other direction into the forest that are maybe a day old, with the freshest tracks belonging to the orcs and aurochs that attacked Blazing Dell. But if you remember, your party has in their possession a map, I believe, or a scrap of paper that Thorgarn pulled from the hand of the orc chief.
So
There it
we
is.
had, just want to make sure I have this clear. So we had tracks that were going up into the mountain area, tracks that went off to the southeast that are older, and then fresher tracks that are heading in towards Blaisdell. Right?
Say that again?
So there were tracks that were going up into the mountain area. Then there were the older tracks that were going southeast. And then we had the tracks that were going back into town.
Well, the older tracks kind of go southeast and southwest into the forest. Most likely some sort of smaller hunting parties.
Okay.
Each one of them appears to be a set of about 4 orcs. There's the main tracks that you followed here. That those seem to come not from the path that leads up the mountain, but kind of from an area into more of the thickets and things like that, that they join this trail that you're on from the south portion of the mountain. And on your scrap of paper, it's literally kind of the outline of the Stone Tooth Mountain. There's an X that more or less seems to correspond with where this mountain pass leads. And then there's another X kind of to the east of the mountain. That's the generalized direction of where these other tracks lead.
Okay. All right, now I'm following.
So the question is, do we investigate the tooth, the mountain, or do we go investigate and see if that's where their camp is? If it's the camp, I'm afraid there might be more of them there than we might be able to manage.
I think it's a very safe bet to say if we go towards the camp, we're going to run into issues in terms of there being far more than we're willing to work with at that time. But probably best we backtrack to the rest of them and let them know what's what and where everything's most likely laid out and see what they do.
So Jake, where the X is, does that happen to be the camp that I snuck into to retrieve the holy book, or was that a different camp?
You were not in this region.
Okay, that's what I thought. Awesome.
All right, so what do you guys want to do?
I'm going to go back to the others and relay the information. And see what they want to do with it.
All right.
So we'll share it out. Well, the tracks looks like they're coming from, we point off into the area. So they're not quite going up into the mountain, into the tooth. They're heading off, past it to these hills. We go that way, we might be meeting the whole army. We may be meeting the masses, but able to gather more information. If we go up into the tooth, we might be able to see what it is that they're looking for. We might be able to, did we hear about the tiefling, Griveth, or is that all?
No, only
mine.
Only V had the interaction with the tiefling.
Okay, so we know nothing about that. All right, so we can go off and go try and see what kind of camp they got, or we can head off into the tooth and try to stop them from getting whatever it is they're trying to get.
And there is that sort of there is a sort of plume of smoke to the almost directly south of the mountain proper. I'm going to see if I can get this. I don't have this full screen set up. I don't think my green screen's even set up properly. But I'm going to see just if I can give you guys a little bit better view of the mountain, if that helps. So you guys should be able to see the mountain. So you got the path you guys have come along. You're kind of in that lower left region. And then there's the mountain proper. And there's the path that kind of leads up into that zigzags up. And then there's this plume of smoke down in the central south area. Technically, you don't know that lake is is there.
Right,
So
just cover that.
so you guys pretty much have free reign to go directly to this up this path to where the 1X is. You can investigate the plume of smoke. You can follow the tracks that Cantriel and Thorgarn discovered that sort of, to clarify, I guess, they kind of lead between the stone tooth and where that plume is. Or you can even take a wait and see approach and wait and see what's happening in the area. So, scouting, waiting, exploring specific areas. What would you like to do?
Well, Ted would certainly say that since Jake keeps putting out that wait and see, that would sound like a phenomenal idea.
That was
But
not
you know what?
that was not intended to be like a DM hint.
But in no way, shape, or form would Thorgarn ever think about, well, let's just sit and watch. So he is interested in getting into that mountain. I am certain that Cantriel and Griveth, maybe Fig, are tired of this hour-long journey of the tales that Thorgarn keeps talking about. Vondran Foehammer. He's a talker, so he'll go on and on about all of the great deeds that this guy has done. I'm certain at some point in time, Talmud has stepped in and be like, dude, you made that one up. Because he'll just make up stuff if he has to keep saying that the hammer is in that mountain and that's where we need to go.
Well, Griveth was definitely about the direct approach, so let's take it to him.
The premise of getting paid to bring back those orc ears is very, very promising. But Grandad did say that we were supposed to go in the mountains, so that's where I think we should go.
No, we've always got the ability to go get the thing, therefore they can't have it. And any orcs we find along the way, we take an ear, we profit. Afterwards, we've got the thing, they don't have it, and we go beat up some orcs for more money, if you're caring about the coin, cousin.
There's always been a reason that you're my favorite cousin, Thorgarn.
Well,
You're so bright.
How
Yes.
many of them are you?
What? Cousins?
Yeah.
How much did you drink last night? There's two of us.
No, as in how many others in your family do we get to expect upon the return?
I mean, it's a dwarf family. How many would you expect?
Do you mean like how far out should you go? Like 7th cousins or 8th cousins?
That alone says enough.
There you go.
I'm fine. Let's just head into the mountain. I'd rather not deal with the orcs anytime soon en masse if possible, so fine by me. Fig, what about you? You do have a say in this after all.
After my conversation with Thorgarn, I expect that orcs are quite terrifying. I would prefer not have my limbs ripped from my body yet until I have figured out who I am. So I would say the mountains.
Well, anything we can do to help you figure that out, Fig.
Cantriel and Griveth. As you guys are kind of deciding what you're going to do and talking amongst yourselves, Cantriel, you are the first to hear it. It's a sort of a squeaking and a rattling sound, or creaking and a rattling sound. It's quite a ways off, but your hearing is very acute. Griveth, a moment later, you pick up this kind of And Cantriel, Griveth can't quite hear this, but Cantriel, you can hear this sort of of approaching voices. And you know, it doesn't take much after just seconds of hearing this. It sounds like some sort of a cart being led or driven down a path coming off from slightly to the northwest, but moving in your direction. What would you like to do?
I'm going to let them know we're going to have company soon. We might want to take cover. It sounds like we have a cart and a couple of big and ugly ones on their way in this direction.
I know Orc. Can I make out anything?
You do know Orc. I think you're the only one here that knows Orc. At the moment, you don't hear the voices yet. You hear the cart, but not quite the voices yet. But both of you are able to determine that in less than a minute or two, this cart, this wagon, whatever it is, will be upon you.
Let's flank the trail. We'll take them by surprise.
And just to be clear, this, because you've just come out of the woods, there are high grasses, a bit of shrubbery, all of that kind of stuff all around. So it's not like all of a sudden you're out in just scrubland. I mean, there are places to hide and things like that. So are you guys going to take cover?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, definitely.
Everybody, give me a stealth check. Talmud, what's your armor?
My armor? Like, what am I wearing?
Yeah.
I don't wear armor. I'm a
Oh,
barbarian.
that's right. That's right.
I run around naked.
Well, not all barbarians run around naked. I got clothes, I got armor, but 6 on my stealth roll.
A 6?
6 for me too.
That's why I run around naked.
Just disadvantage, no proficiency, 12 dex.
Oh boy.
Okay, Cantriel, how'd you do?
I got a 13.
And Fig?
I got a 9.
Oh dear.
Talmud.
Talmud got a 16.
All right, now this is the next important question. 6, a 6, a 9. That's awesome.
The 3 of them are like still standing in the middle of the trail.
Real quick.
Well, no, I'm hidden okay. It's just they heard me getting there.
Real quick, I need to know left or right, and I'm gonna go to each of you. Which side of the trail do you go to? Griveth.
Right.
Cantriel.
Right.
Talmud.
Left.
Thorgarn.
I would have gone to the side with Fig.
Fig.
Left.
Thorgarn's over there. So, all right, yeah. As you guys kind of get hidden in the brush and amongst the shrubberies and whatnot, there's a bit of commotion from Fig, who doesn't seem to quite be able to maneuver through these tall branches, and I imagine a branch gets caught on Fig, and as it snaps loose, it slams into Thorgarn. Do you have a shield?
I do not.
Well, it slams into your armor right on a metal piece. Talmud, you actually, as you go to get in, you kind of slip on some mud and just kind of not Talmud. Sorry, no, you did all right. You slid down in there all right. Griveth is the one that slips in some mud, and inadvertently your shield slams into the ground to catch yourself, hitting a rock. So there's this sort of so you don't know if anything was heard. Let's see. And just because it's the first time I'm using this, I'm gonna go to the new dice cam and let you guys see as I roll at disadvantage, I'm going to roll a perception check. I won't do this for every roll, but that is a nat 1 and a 17. So no, and normally I wouldn't let you guys know that, but you're going to figure it out in just a moment. As this cart, as you guys are hidden, this cart comes knocking around the trail, and it's making a lot of noise. It's a rickety wooden cart pulled by a single auroch, and there are 2 orcs with this cart. They're not riding the cart. They are the more brutish orc, the bigger, brawnier one, is leading the auroch. The skinnier one is up on the back of the cart. And they're kind of talking in, they're actually talking in common as they were ambling along. And what you hear is from the brutish orc first. Don't know why. We've got to keep doing this. And then you don't hear anything for a moment. And they're probably within about, we'll say about 50 feet or 50 yards of you guys. And you hear the, oops, I left the dice cam on. You hear that, that sort of, I don't know why we got to keep doing this. It's been at least a couple weeks. He's had enough, in my opinion. I don't like sativa. But you know, if the Great Oath wants it, we've got to get it for him. Look, I don't mind the stuff itself. I just don't like making it. Since when have you ever had a problem killing a few elves and grinding them up? Listen, it's just messy. How much elf pudding can Great Oath eat anyway? And this whole conversation is happening as they're getting up, and they're moving right up near your hiding spot. And I'm going to check something. There's a particular deep rut that the cart goes through all of a sudden. And there's several casks of wooden casks in the back of this cart. And the skinnier orc kind of falls back and then pushes up against the side of the cart and just barely manages to stop one of these barrels from rolling out and crashing on the ground right near you. Hey, watch how you're driving this thing, or we're going to have to go back and get some more.
So how far away are they now?
About 10, 15 feet.
So are you guys planning to let them go through? Are we? Well, first of all, are these things talking in common or are they talking in orc?
Oh, they're talking in common.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
All right, I'm not really happy with them talking about grinding up elves.
Are you talking about this outright?
No, I'm looking at where I saw my companions, and if they're hunkered down and hiding to let them walk past, then I'm gonna have to do this solo. But if they're seeming to be drawing weapons like I am, then we're gonna do this group style. But I'm throwing 2 javelins at one of these guys.
Bow's already drawn.
Would this be considered a sneak attack?
Well, given that I rolled a nat 1 on their perception, we're going to roll initiative, and you guys will get a surprise round regardless of what the orcs roll. So I'm going to... roll for these 2 separately. Only 2 of them. And let's see. You guys go ahead and roll, and I'll get your numbers here in a moment. Let's see. All right, Griveth.
I got a 3.
Cantriel.
11.
Big.
21.
Thorgarn.
10.
Talmud.
I also got a 10.
All right, so checking the order here. And okay, so because you guys have a surprise round, Big, you are the first one up. But I would actually like you to make a perception check.
7.
So you might not necessarily know what's about to happen. You guys made no plan to attack beforehand. And you don't really even notice that Thorgarn is slowly kind of easing out his javelins, and Cantriel is drawing a bow. You're on the opposite side of Cantriel anyway. You can't see her. So would Fig take any action on his own?
Um,
I'm not going to make you lose a turn completely. I will say that you could... and I'm not saying you can't take any action, whatever you want, but you could decide to hold an action as well.
I don't know if this will be too meta, but I would hold an action because I don't think that Fig would do anything until he saw other people doing something. He has received his orders. That's what they decided to do. But I want to ready a spell as soon as I see one of my companions like do anything, like any form of aggressive action, then he would do this.
All right, that sounds good. So as soon as one of your companions attacks, then we'll jump to you. So next in the order is actually going to be Cantriel.
I'm going to let loose an arrow at the skinny one.
All right. He technically has half cover because he had just fallen down in the cart and holding the barrels.
Okay.
Which half cover, I believe, is a +2 AC.
All right, so then that's going to be, what is it? What is it? 14.
With cover, I think that's going to miss. I'm just double checking my rules here. Half cover is a +2 to AC. So that misses as it goes just flying over his head.
Okay, then I'm going to quickly put my hand on Griveth's shoulder and tell him, I know you can do far better than I just did, and give him bardic inspiration.
Excellent. Thorgarn and Talmud, you both act.
All right, so I have a natural 20 for 6, 7, 10 damage on my first javelin, going after the big one.
Did you do automatic max damage, then roll your dice?
Yes.
Excellent. So 10 damage on the big one?
Yes. And then I rolled a 22 to hit on the second one.
That is going to hit.
And that's going to be for 8.
So as you're essentially Cantriel kind of loosed an arrow silently, and you just see as oh man, he didn't even notice. The skinny one didn't even notice as the arrow flew over his head. But suddenly they both get, you leap up, Thorgarn, and you let loose one after the other with these 2 javelins. sticking both of them as they both cry out. Gah! And they are now aware of your presence, but it's still on your guys. Any other thing else you want to do, Thorgarn?
Not at the moment.
Talmud, what do you do?
How far am I from the closest one?
The whole cart with both. The closest one would probably be the big dude. And I'd say within 10 or 15 feet.
Oh, perfect. In that case, Talmud is going to kind of jump up from the squatting position that he's been in, kind of behind this small bush, hammer, kind of held, horizontal across, and he kind of hops up. Hello! And he kind of runs forward, and as he does so, he's going to bring Gerta up in a big swing and try to strike at this big fellow. Twice. Hey. That's a 22 on the first one.
That's a hit.
Oh, yes. And a 24 on the second.
That's going to be both of them hits.
Sweet. All right. This is a 2d6, not a d12. All right. First one is going to be 9 points of bludgeoning. And the second, a little stronger with 13 points. Bang, bang.
How do you kill this big orc?
So he gets that javelin stuck in him from Thorgarn. And before he can even kind of reel much from the strike, Talmud is out of the grass and has closed the distance between them. And the first hit from Gerta actually connects with the inside of his left knee, which just completely pops out of socket, and he buckles kind of half down. And then he brings Gerta up and down on the back of his skull and just lays him out in the mud.
Yeah, and you just hear that. He barely has time to call out. And to clarify for the chat, is Talmud's not actually naked, right?
No.
Because they're picturing a naked dwarf popping out of a bush. Hello.
Just when he rages. No. No, I think he wears. I have a picture of him somewhere. I'll look it up.
All right. After Talmud, Griveth, you managed to kind of realize all around you your companions are attacking. What are you going to do?
Okay, so is that one that was in the back of the wagon? He got missed by Cantriel, right? He's still back there, right?
He got missed by Cantriel, but he did catch a javelin from a pretty good hit from Thorgarn.
Okay, but he's still kicking?
Yep.
Okay, so so Griveth tries to spring into action, but the mud that he fell in earlier was kind of on his boots, and he's kind of does this comical thing where he's like, on the ground, the slippery ground, where he tries to get up, but he's the last one to get up because he finally gets traction. Cantriel kind of dodges his clumsy headlong charge, right? And she does her inspiration on him, and he is just triggered because he heard elf pudding, and he just went nuts. Like he's like, ah! So he just leaps out like some crazy man. He leaps out of the bushes. He takes Bradford's honor and slams it into the wheel of the cart. It does an auto crit to objects.
That's right. The weapon that was previously called Shatter Spike. So, what's the... Well, it doesn't matter what the damage is. It's going to be enough to, with the auto crit, it's going to be enough to shatter the wheel on the cart, the left front wheel. Whoa.
Oh.
Jeremy, you just mucked up the entire overlay.
Oh no. We're back. So does the barrel like fall since the cart kind of slams into the ground and the wheel explodes in a spray of splinters? Does the cart kind of jaunt to the one side and then the barrel like fall over on the orc and then smash into the ground?
No, you got the left front wheel. There are still 3 other wheels and an auroch that it's attached to.
Oh, so it has 4 wheels.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Does the orc fall out of the back or anything from the jolt, the wheel?
No, because it's just the front wheel, and he was already kind of sitting down from where he had fallen previously.
Okay, well, my second attack is I'm gonna hit the other wheel.
Okay, second attack.
Other wheel on that side.
Other wheel.
Yeah.
All right, and you're on the side. Actually, I'm sorry, that's the right front wheel because you and Cantriel were on the right side.
Yeah.
So you shatter this first attack. You can basically just spin in place and slam Bradford's Honor into the other wheel, shattering. I mean, these wheel spokes go flying, wood goes flying, and with this second wheel shattered, the cart just immediately drops to the right side.
Is Bradford's Honor a longsword or a 2-handed sword?
It's a longsword.
It's a longsword.
Because I'm envisioning this all done in one swing, just clearing through both wheels.
It's a little bit big of a cart for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's why I kind of pictured it. He hits this first wheel. It didn't quite go the way he expected. And just with a quick, almost like backward spin, slams into the other one. As you're standing there, Griveth, Cantriel, you watch, perhaps in horror, as this cart leans, just suddenly drops towards you. The orc in the back, I'm going to have him make a dex saving throw. He is going to fail. So he goes tumbling. 6 casks of elf pudding come tumbling out. And let's just see. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to roll. Jeremy, roll me a d6.
That's a 1.
One of the casks, like 5 of them, as it kind of falls, they hit on the railing and they just sort of start rolling backwards out of the cart at this angle and just kind of rolling into the roadway. But one of them slips out over the top and shatters when it hits the road. This thick black goo spraying everywhere, and it is foul smelling, and you know exactly what it is as it hits the ground. Is there any other bonus actions or anything there, Griveth?
No.
And Megan, you should have said something I completely forgot. When the first person attacked, you were supposed to get an opportunity, so in this sudden melee, what would you like to have done?
That's okay. I think that Fig would have, from the bushes, I don't think Fig would have even stood up or gotten out. He's still kind of crouched in the grass, and you would just see this hand shoot up of Fig's, and he points his fingers out, and inside you see this huge ball of glowing light, and from it, it kind of splits into 3. And they would go at the orc as magic missile.
Excellent. Roll that damage.
Okay.
As I see this light streak out too late, I'm like, don't kill it!
Okay. So that's... So all 3 are going to go at the 1. So that is going to do 12 points of force damage.
As this orc is tumbling out of the cart, it looks weird to anybody seeing him as he begins to tumble and is suddenly knocked one way and then another and another as these magic missiles hit him, and he sort of pinballed, and the last one hits him, and he just kind of goes poof, and unceremoniously he just lands on his butt, legs splayed, in this kind of awkward and undignified position in the mud. Cool. And he's like, he's still alive, gasping for breath. A javelin still sticking out of his shoulder, I might add. As we are now, that was your held action. We're back to the top of the order in regular round, and it is Fig's turn.
So, Griveth, you would have yelled out, "Don't kill him." Yeah.
But it was too late.
And yes, to be clear, because he is on the ground, that is technically a prone position, even though he's not laying flat out.
So Fig hears that, and you just see Fig kind of pop up. Oh, my apologies. They were orcs. And then you just see Fig is going to take a... How far away is this orc sitting?
10 feet.
You see Fig in a couple of strides just walk over to the orc and put out his hand towards him. I apologize. I did not mean to hurt you.
He sort of... Actually, is that all you're going to do on your turn?
Yeah.
It's actually his turn now. As... I want you to make an intimidation roll. You're this bizarre contraption standing over this orc and just apologized for striking him. His ally has been killed.
I got a 14 on intimidation.
A what? A 14?
Yeah, 14.
All right, let me see if that is enough to sway him. You know, orcs, they have that real high charisma. It's the same green die I showed you before the stream, V. It rolled another nat 1. It's my orc die. He's sitting there. He sort of scrambles back a little bit. I ain't going nowhere. As he reaches up towards the javelin that's sticking out of his shoulder. What do you all want anyway? Who are you? What are you doing here?
Someone's gonna grab him. Does he have like clothing or armor or anything on?
Grab him by the javelin.
Ooh, not yet.
That's what I'm on the way to do.
He's wearing dirty hide armor.
So he kind of just grabs him by like the scruff of his collar, and he like roughly pulls him over to where like the elf pudding is, and like pulls him down towards the ground. That is not okay.
He sort of, as you pull him towards the ground, at this point he's kind of propped up partway, and the javelin's pressing further into his shoulder. It wasn't me! It wasn't me! I don't like it!
You have to rub their nose in it. He's just gonna put his hand on the back of his head and like kind of like push him towards it like a bad dog.
Cantriel would come up behind him and actually use her leg and like kick him down, so he slides down the javelin and into the dirt.
That's like a Griveth move coming from Cantriel. Cantriel, make me a strength check.
Sure.
Do it with advantage because Talmud is pulling downward.
Ooh, even better. Okay. All right, so that's gonna be a 10. She's pissed. She's not strong.
He puts his other hand out and braces against being completely pushed down. I will say that he slides a couple inches down the javelin and takes at least another point of damage from it as you're just going to sit here and torture me.
You did the same to my kind. Sounds fair to me.
I don't know what you're talking about. And he turns around and he sees you.
Hello.
Oh.
Oh.
Ugh.
You better start talking now.
What makes you think I'm gonna say anything to you, lot?
A rapier with a sharp blade.
Alright, you're just gonna kill me anyway. So be done with it.
No, I didn't say anything about killing. But I see a
So-
nice ear on this side and one on that side. And then we have a nose. And I believe you have some fingers there and some toes. And maybe a little something dangling in between if necessary.
So can he see the other orc from where he's at?
Actually, he can't.
Okay.
That's kind of further up ahead. Cantriel, make an intimidation check.
Okay.
Talmud is looking very approvingly in Cantriel's direction at the moment.
17.
His eyes widen as you start listing off body parts. You wouldn't.
At this part, the Eladrin factor is kicking in and her eyes are glowing like a fiery red. Oh, I would. And I'd enjoy every little slow slice.
Hazen Gathyak. Griveth, you hear him under his breath just basically spit, elven bitch.
Oh, I know I am. I've been called that a few times already by my friends. Try another one.
So in the interim, they've got the prisoner, pretty geared up. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna cut off the ear, retrieve my other javelin, and then I'll wander over to see what's going on. And in that interim, I'll be like, cousin, where'd you find this one? It's unlike any elf I've ever seen.
He's kind of staring at Cantriel and he says, likewise.
How many ears did you cut off?
I'm being I'm playing this the way it's supposed to be. I cut off one ear because we're not supposed to do 2 ears paying per the kill.
All right. Fig, what are you doing as these newfound companions are displaying these very vicious reactions to these orcs?
You see Fig initially have his hand outstretched, but as both Talmud and Cantriel kind of take over and they're just being you see Fig just slowly retract his hand to his side, and he's just observing for now, just kind of tilting his head from side to side.
As you're going full Eladrin on him, he just looks at you, Cantriel. He's still braced with the shaft of the javelin stuck against the ground. Talmud has a hold of his collar, and he's straining with his left arm, holding himself up against sliding down further on this javelin. What? What do you want from me?
Where were you going?
We was on a supply run, bringing more elf pudding to the Great Oaf.
It's probably not a good idea if you keep saying the name of it.
Hearing elf pudding, I'm going to kick the javelin underneath him.
Oh. Okay. Okay, so you kick the javelin out and he drops onto that shoulder. Before
he drops, can I rush in and grab him?
You're gonna try to stop him from falling?
Mm-hmm.
Make a dex check.
I turn to Cantriel and wink. All right, let's see here. Come on, baby. 17.
All right, you catch him just as he is kind of falling and sort of stop him from landing on the ground.
Okay, so I kind of drag him a little bit away from the rest of the party. I'm kind of like holding Cantriel off with one arm and holding him with the other. And I kind of drag him around the side of the cart so he can prop up. And I say, she's going to kill you.
You're all going to kill me anyway.
Well, that depends. What can you tell
She's
us
got a
about it?
reason to be pissed at me.
I understand that. What can you tell us about these barrels? Why do you have orc pudding? I mean, orc pudding, elf pudding.
It's the great Orv's favourite thing. It makes us go out every couple of weeks and get some.
Where are you getting these elves?
Wherever we can. Some of them are simple farmers. We break into their homesteads and we kill them all. Grind them up right there. Every once in a while, if we have to, we get them from the slavers' markets.
How much do you want to live?
I don't think it matters how much I want at this point.
All right, so I reach down and I'm like, steal yourself. I give him a branch to put in his mouth and I pull the javelin out the back. Then I touch his shoulder and he feels the healing warmth of my what is it? Laying hands. So I just heal him 1 hit point. Basically enough to close up the wound.
He's in really bad shape, so 1 hit point's not going to do a whole lot.
Okay, how much do I need to do?
I would say, I mean, as much as you want. I would say, as a paladin with your land hands, you might know that about 5 hit points worth is going to make him feel the effects of what you're doing.
Okay, I'll do that.
Oh, get your filthy hands off.
You will live.
What, you?
I have spared your miserable life. Now you will help us. We are going to this place and we're going to kill, we're going to attack it. Now that you know you can flee for your life, we will let you go.
You're just going to tell me your plan, and you're just going to let me go so she can shoot me in the back?
I won't let her. I promise. I'm trying to use persuasion on him.
All right, give it a go.
All right. Oh, 18. Bam.
Beats his 8.
No fooling. No sneaky business. I'll tell you what I know. You're just going to let me go?
Yes. Just, I don't want to see you again.
What do you want to know?
And I'm talking to him at work, too, to make him feel more comfortable. How to enter this place?
You're looking to go inside the mountain.
Yes. That is our quest.
You want to go in the front door? Swinging swords?
I'd prefer not to. Come on, I helped you. I saved your life. You know you would have bled out. You have a second chance at life. You can find a new tribe.
We was heading up the trail to the front door. They call it the mountain door. Leads right into the old dwarven stronghold. That dwarf bastard all those years ago fended off all the orc tribes. But we found a way in. My ancestors, they dug tunnels on the backside of the mountain. Killed them all, too. They never heard us coming. You're gonna have to make your way all the way around to the east side of the mountain You want to sneak in the back way. But there's not much accounting for what's in that way. Other things have moved in. So good luck with it.
I thank you. What's your name?
Why do you want to know my name? So you can steal it? So you can etch it into your belt? Carve it into your skin?
Those are not our ways.
It's what I do.
I know your ways.
I am called Lothrak.
I would kill you right now, your cowardly kind, but I have given you my word that I will let you live, and live you shall. Now go back down that trail and don't come back. You will live.
He's, for the moment, he's just sitting there. His eyes are moving from you to the others. He's not quite sure. And then after a moment, he sort of pulls himself up to a standing position, leaning against the cart. He takes a tentative step back.
When I see that their conversation looks like it's over, I'm just going to casually walk over, not really pay the orc any mind, pick up the javelin that's there at their feet, wipe the blood off and put it back in and walk back to the group.
He kind of flinches a bit as you come walking forward. And he's taking soft, like half steps backwards until he gets about 5 feet away from you. His eyes look to each one of you all. And then he just has this sort of confused look as he looks back at you, Griveth.
I don't understand you.
Right. He turns and he's going to run as fast as he can down the trail.
Cantriel's gonna misty step in front of him as he's running and stab him with a rapier.
I think she's gonna do something, so I step in front of her, but she
misty stepped
right through me.
So as Griveth sees Cantriel start to do something, you turn and your hand just goes through where she was. And there's just a slight forward momentum to this almost luminescent smoke mist that's just the orc running. He turns over his shoulder to look back at all of you and just suddenly as he turns and he's now looking into your eyes, Cantriel, as he looks down at where the blade you held out is run straight through him.
His word, not mine. Goodbye.
And do you pull your blade out?
Slowly and slicing.
And he just, as your blade comes out, he drops to his knees and falls to his side, dead.
So I'll casually
she's cutting off both ears.
Oh, okay.
Cantriel.
Yes.
Take a point of inspiration because that was pretty awesome.
Okay.
And yeah. It was very out of character, but very driven by the events. Not out of character. It's atypical for Cantriel. So
right.
Yeah, what is the rest of your reaction as you see what has happened? I mean, this orc was a good 15, 20 feet down the path, and suddenly he's dead a moment later.
Death is death. I'm more concerned with is there anything besides the barrels of pudding in the cart?
There is not.
So what is this elf pudding? I mean, I gather, they talked about grinding up elves. Have I heard of this before? Is this something that they encountered before?
Make me a history check.
Yeah. That's a 14.
You, and especially with your orc interactions, you've heard of it. It seems to be within this particular region, in and to the north of the Desserin Valley, and kind of in this whole area, that orcs, kobolds, goblins, it's relatively rare and obviously not something you can just go into your average market to get. But yeah, they've been known to basically liquefy elves and serve it as a delicacy.
Volume-wise, how much would you say is here?
These are small casks. They're not like full on. Think like a can't think of what they're called. Not a full size keg, but like the half kegs or whatever.
Okay.
Cask.
Yeah, a cask.
All right, so you're talking like this, like right around the size of a head.
A little bit bigger than that.
Okay.
But yeah, I know. Think like the size of a propane tank for your grill. Like
okay.
20 pound. I think those are 20 pound. So yeah, something like that. So I mean, liquid volume wise, there's a fair amount of this that is spilled all over the roadside, and at this point now, the cart actually kind of the cart's being dragged a little bit as the Auroch is still hooked up to it and is just slowly moving forward.
Are all of the barrels opened?
No, only one broke open.
Okay.
The other 5 barrels just sort of rolled out and into the grass.
All right. It's not much I can do for the open one. So, Lass, Cantriel, this is, to some extent, kin, and I'm not exactly certain what your burial rites are, but I do think that these folk deserve to be laid to rest.
Best to take them off the roadside a bit and burn it.
If we're near some kind of camp, do we think setting a fire be such a wise choice?
If you can dig it deep enough so they don't find it, that'll work too.
I mean, it take a bit of work, but I think it right.
At this point, she's going to disengage and she's going to go stand off on her own.
All right, so I'll whoever wishes to aid can, but I'll cart them a good 20-30 feet off the trail, and I've got a war pick as one of my weapons, so I have no problem getting a some loose soil, digging it, maybe a couple feet down. It's going to start saturating the ground as I begin dumping the stuff in, but I'll cover it with leaves and dirt, and then something that you guys I don't know what everyone's languages are, but I will start a typical chant, but I will switch to Celestial as I offer words for the fallen foes. I may not know their names, but they certainly deserve to make it to whatever afterlife that they would choose, for the end that they received was not one that they had earned in life.
I think while Thorgarn is doing all of this and while he's putting the cask away, you would see Fig go to the orc and drag him towards if he, as much as he can, drag an orc, drag him towards Thorgarn.
I'll help him do that.
You forgot this one, Thorgarn.
The big one or the skinny one that Cantriel killed?
I think both. Like, I think that Fig would want to carry both. Well, not at once, but you know.
I'll
right.
carry one and Fig can carry the other.
It takes some effort, but you're able to eventually drag these, and Thorgarn, Fig, and Griveth show up with the orc bodies at your little elven funeral rites.
Well, I'm not thinking it'd be too kind to be burying them alike together. But if you so wish to have these two buried, then so be it. I am not opposed to it, despite the actions that they had undertaken of late.
We're not going to bury all of the orcs while we're out here, are we?
Time will not permit, but I owe this orc a burial. I made a promise. And
well.
you see, like, Griveth actually has tears coming down his face for this orc.
You're a complicated man, but then again, you are a man.
Can we not take his ears?
Cantriel already cut his ears off.
Oh.
They're gone.
Oh, gotcha. So, these creatures have gods also. As foul as they are.
All right. Let's see here. That is a 21 on my religion check. What do I know about general orc religion?
You know that in general, they follow a god they call Grumsh. You don't really know a whole lot of the details about it, but it seems to be a common god amongst the orcs.
All right. So I will do far less work on, their graves, but their bodies are definitely going to be bigger. So they will certainly be getting shallow graves. But I don't feel that they're worthy of celestial here. But I will say a prayer, as foul as it is to call out to Grumsh as a dwarf. I hold that in and swallow that sour taste as I call out to Grumsh, and these orc warriors, have a place to go, and as their bodies are no longer there, may their spirits find a home with Grumsh.
And
Does
so,
Fig understand death?
I mean, I would you ask that of Fig? Would you?
I
say,
will, yes. Do you
Fig,
understand that their lives have ended? Do you know what that means?
yes. I know that their bodily functions have ceased to operate, and that they are no longer able to conduct normal life. What I am confused is why you did not want to kill him. You caused him pain, and then you killed him. And you didn't seem to gain any form of information from that. It seemed for a different reason that I am unsure of.
But he did give me information about some secret passages we could possibly use to get into the mountain.
And I do say from looking on that Griveth here had no intention of actually ending this one. but some things like the killing of farm hands and everyone there just to eat their bodies. That's kind of bad. You don't eat things that have the ability to think for themselves.
I understand that, but I gave him my promise.
Oh no, I have no qualms with either choice.
My heart is hurt. And Griveth seems a bit different since he's leveled up and had this baptism. He does seem a bit different.
Well, I'm gonna slap you on the back, and time heals all wounds. Well, I'll look down at the graves, not his though. I'll walk off to Talmud.
The soldier in me says that we shouldn't tarry too long. We should move.
And
I agree.
That's a great idea, Talmud says from the road.
It's at this point, I'll say that Thorgarn's overall digging the hole and taking care of everything for those who succumbed to the elf pudding, plus the other funeral. You guys have tarried here close to an hour. I don't think anybody even got hit, so nobody needs the benefits of a rest. But we are going to take a short break right now. We'll try to keep it around 5 to 10 minutes tops. So we will return in just a few moments. Stick around. Thank you to everybody in the chat who's been hanging out with us. And for Butter Knives and KGL 5006 and N Marafino for following, and this was earlier today, but N Marafino subscribed to the channel, but also cheered 500 bits earlier, which I forgot to call out live, but you did earn an extra domain die for that. So please stick around. We will be back in just a few moments. And we're back. Back from the break. The two orcs, couriers, delivering their shipment of elf pudding, were waylaid by the party and dispatched quickly. Griveth made a promise to the orc to let him go in exchange for information. Cantriel was having none of it. Thorgarn held funeral rites for the deceased elves turned into elf pudding. Fig and Griveth brought over the dead orcs to also have funeral rites. All of that took about an hour. And now...
before I, shoved the orcs in the dirt, I did snip their pouches. Turns out they had, a little bit of silver, even less gold on them. We'll throw that in the party treasure at some point. But we've wasted enough time. So, shall we head off?
What are you going to do about the broken cart and the auroch?
I would imagine at some point in time, we would have just snipped the, snipped the harness off the auroch. Let it run, toss the cart off into the woods.
All right. Is everybody fine with that?
I'm fine with that.
So yeah, the auroch really was nonplussed by this whole thing. Just sort of as you guys, by the time you're done shoving this broken cart off the path and into the brush, the auroch is already just kind of wandering into the grass, eating the tall grass, perfectly content. So what would you like to do now? You know that the orcs were heading up the path to the front door, but Griveth, you know that there is a potential somewhere around the backside for a secret entrance.
So I definitely pass that on and ask what they think about that idea.
Well, that sounds to be like information that was worth having. I think that's the safest route.
Well, it may not be. He said that the caverns have been re-inhabited by all manner of foul creatures, and they don't use it anymore. So he didn't have any idea what was in there.
He doesn't know what is or what could be. He's trying to, spook you, make you worry about, thinking what could be as opposed to what is.
Thorgarn, insight check.
Sure. That is insight. It's a 16.
Based on Griveth's description of what the orc, Lothrak, told him, the location as described does seem to correspond with that second X on the hand-drawn map you pulled off of the orc chieftain.
So I mean, I can pull that out and be like, all right, so that could be this spot here that we should be going to.
Interesting.
Could be possible that he was simply lying about whatever was there.
Oh yes, very true.
Well, we got two choices. We go to the main gates and fight our way through, or we go to the back, fight our way through whatever would-be inhabitants are there, and then be able to have the inside scoop like the orcs did when they killed me kin.
And the trek may be hard, but we will have the advantage of surprise. They won't know we were coming in.
And clearly, look at this last battle. See how surprise won out?
Well,
That it did.
Cantriel, Fig, you think making the trek around the mountain might be the right goal?
Makes the most sense.
How you faring there, lass? You look like you had a bit of anger in you.
You can't always stay strong and keep your cool at all times, as a few of you might know.
Oh, I know it. It's just, I don't know you all that well, but it doesn't seem that doesn't seem to be your type.
Normally, no, but let's just say that their cuisine isn't exactly one I can agree with.
Oh, I understand. So, looks like we're heading to the back.
It honestly does make the most sense. And thank you for asking.
No problem.
So while we're trekking down to the back, I'm gonna kind of pull back and talk to Thorgarn and ask it, what do you think of this mechanical person?
I think he's pretty interesting. I mean, I don't have a lot of knowledge in regards to constructs.
I mean, as a religious person, what do you think?
Well, I'm not one to completely judge there. I'm not certain I'm worthy enough to make the choice or make judgments. I find he's interesting, and he's made some quality choices to help those around him when need call.
Yes, but you know that we have souls that resist demonic entities that can enter our bodies. We can resist that. But this thing is a shell. This thing is a shell of metal. How do we know that this thing couldn't be easily possessed by something evil that dwells in this cavern?
I look to a creature's actions, and he willingly was. The first time he acted, he flew to save someone else's life.
I would agree. It appears that way, but I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I suggest you do too.
I've got that covered.
All right. We can't delay if this thing gets taken over by some evil force.
I do not think that's going to happen. I think you're reading too much into something that's not really there.
I hope you're right.
So you look familiar. I know that you adventured with my cousins and the elf over there, but I
Yes,
think I've seen
both brave and noble warriors.
I think I've seen you before.
Oh, really?
Before you took on, this life of swinging swords. Did you do anything else?
I've been a soldier all my life until I had my religious experience. Yes. He kind of pauses a sec.
All right, so let's head on back to the group and get this mission moving.
Yes, I see. We best move in before nightfall.
It's probably about we'll say it's about 4:00 in the afternoon by the time you were able to dispose of these bodies and begin moving through the landscape. And you're moving, obviously you have the stone tooth as a guide, and you roughly know to move around the backside. After moving, it's not at this point. It's not going to take you. I mean, the mountain looms up 1,500 feet above you. You're kind of moving along these hills and things like that. You are moving. It's a little slow going through the thick brush and undergrowth. I would like a survival check from whomever is taking point. I don't want to assume. Talmud's over there pointing up. It's
I would have no problems. Be willing to lead this expedition. I'm the one that found the map. I'm the one that really believes that there's a dwarven artifact in there that I want to get my hands on. Even if I don't get to keep it, I just want to be able to, be like, I've got this. So unless somebody specifically was trying to, push me away, I think I'd be kind of spearheading.
No, I think someone else should lead the way first for a little while. And he kind of rubs one of the spots where like he was, stabbed with like one of those pungy sticks in the bottom of the pit outside of the Sunless Citadel. It's kind of still sore.
Is that Talmud that's sore, or is that Jeremy that's a little sore at me?
A friend doesn't have to choose, sir.
All right. Well, I would like to use a domain die because I'm not happy with the result of that D20 roll.
Nice.
All right, so there goes a domain die.
All right, so that reroll, that gets me a 14 on my survival.
So as you begin moving, you're moving through, as I said, thick brush. The stone tooth rises up on your left. And you begin, as you're moving through, you can see that it's going to take you maybe another half hour to work your way through this thick brush to get around to the back side where this supposed orc tunnel is. But with that check, you actually notice just to your south about, looks like about 150 yards to your right, you can now see where some of the rock kind of rises up about 20 feet, and the smoke that you saw earlier is coming out of this sort of natural stone chimney. As I said, it's about 150 yards to your right. Do you continue going on, or do you want to investigate the chimney?
So I'll who would be taking the position behind me?
I probably would because of our previous scouting.
So Lass, what do you think? Do we go make sure there's nothing at our backs, or do we head on with the mission?
We're going to lose light soon. That's one thing to keep in mind. If we go to investigate, we might find that we're stuck where we don't want to be and there's not much light for us.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of which way you go, you're going to be, stuck with no light. We're going to go inside.
You hear Griveth kind of grumbling in the background as you guys are trailblazing. It's like, Thorgarn is so small he can just easily dodge through these, brambles and stuff. And then we've got Cantriel, who's, so lithe that she can like just, weave through these with no problem. I'm like running into all these bushes. Like I've got sticks coming out of my armor, trying to smash. I'm just, I'm enormous. I'm 6'5", so I'm like enormous. So I'm just snapping through all these branches, just grumbling that you guys chose this trail.
Hearing that, I'll nod back. I'm like, and do you really want to risk us tipping them off first?
No.
If we get inside, we get our backs to the wall, and we can at least guard one side of our bodies.
Hey, you don't have to convince a dwarf to go and be surrounded by stone.
We're gonna have to take a rest just so I can pull these branches out of my armor.
Here, makes you feel any better. I'll pull the one twig that's managed to catch in my mohawk and toss it at Griveth.
So you guys are you continuing around to the tunnel?
Indeed, sir.
All right. As you get closer to the area around this eastern side of the mountain, it's not so much a draw, but it does sort of slightly curve in. And we'll go back to here a moment. So you guys are now on this kind of centered on the right side of the mountain there. You've come around through this chimney, and you're approaching, and within a couple hundred yards of kind of the base of the mountain. Are you going to be moving stealthily, or continuing at the pace you've been doing?
I would imagine we'd be trying our best to be stealthy. Whispered voices, slower steps, but we got clanking armor here, so it's not going to be the best.
Yeah, I would think seeing the smoke would be our cue to sort of like pull it in a little bit and try and move more quietly.
All right, go ahead and everybody give me stealth rolls.
Ah!
I actually rolled a crit. I think I've got so many branches stuck on me that I'm just like camouflaged.
Well, my first roll was a 13. My second roll was a natural 20. So I have a 14.
19.
I got a 10.
I imagine that as you are all walking, you hear the because Fig is a little rusty.
Do you need a little oil there, Fig, for your joints?
Anyone else saying oil can?
I actually have an oil
can.
No, she has an oil flask.
Well, I was trapped in some water for about 10 years. I didn't realize it would have this effect on me. I apologize.
No need to apologize. You're learning about how you function, it seems, but by all means take this and, move a little bit more smoothly, probably.
It's, just to be clear, with Fug?
Fug?
With Fig's construction, I almost said with Fug's constriction. With Fig's construction, it's not quite like the Tin Man where you can just squirt a couple drops of oil. It would take some effort. I'm not saying that there's not things you guys could do, or even you on your own, Fig, but it would take some effort and some time to get at your mechanisms and attempt to service them. But it's doable. It's just something that would take a little bit of effort.
Yeah, but now he has the oil to do it when he can.
And so enough of you were successful, though, on your stealth check. You managed to move relatively quietly with most of the sounds sort of blending into the natural sound of wind and the creaking of the trees and the shrubs. And as you are kind of moving in this area, you do not immediately see, Thorgarn, any sign of a cave or entrance. However, both Griveth and Cantriel, you both notice that it's not quite like up towards the rock part of the foot of the mountain, but a little ways down on a slope, there's a unnatural looking cluster of bushes and scrub trees, and you can actually see just beyond them the darkness of a cave opening.
So I got this map here, but I'm not seeing no opening.
I'm thinking right down there. See all that shrubbery that looks a little bit too well placed?
After she points it out, do I see it?
Once she points it out, you definitely can see it. It's not like it's magically concealed or anything. It's almost like a slightly like a labyrinth moment where you just kind of have to shift your view a little bit, and then you can see, oh wait, yeah, there is something there.
Yeah, well done. So I kind of, look around, kind of peer in the, behind us, take a look around, take a listen, making sure there's no one that seems to be, or making sure that no one is following us. Because the last thing I want is to have any kind of pincer attack go off on us.
So what are you doing?
I'm looking around, before we head into a cave. I want to make sure there's no one that's following us.
Oh, you're just making sure you're not being followed.
Yes, sir.
Give me.
So we found the entrance.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Looks that way.
Give me perception or investigation.
Wow, that natural 20 is going to be nice. And perception and investigation, well, I'll go with perception. That's a natural 20, 21.
Looking around, you scan the entire area and the way you came. You don't see or hear anything immediately that would indicate that you've been followed. You turn, looking beyond, kind of in the direction you were going, and you hear a twig snap, a little rustle of brush. You see two eyes staring at you wide, and then a sudden rush of branches and brush as a doe goes leaping through the brush, startled by your presence. Nobody appears to have followed you.
Awesome. Now, trying to think, if we're not on a mission, that would be dinner. But that's a lot of work to to field dress to field dress it and have it prepared. So I kind of like sigh at the lost meal and watch it leaving.
Fig, can you see in the dark?
Yes, I can. Very well.
So it seems like it's only you, human boy, that we have to worry about.
I guess I'm the only one that needs light. Cantriel, would you do me the favors?
To do what?
Cast light.
Don't you have a torch?
Well, I stopped carrying them because I plan to be around you all the time, and you can cast light.
Well, it seems you can't always depend on the people around you, now can you? And I'll hand him a torch.
Her bloodlust is still not sated.
So while they're kind of going at it, I lean down and kind of whisper to Talmud, "What's going on there?"
It's probably best that you don't ask.
Do I have to worry about them, attacking each other or worse?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they've come to that part yet.
Well, you're saying yet, like it could be, or I don't know.
They're an elf and a human. The way that their relationships work are not really something that make a lot of sense to me.
Well, you do know there's half elves usually come out of that.
Yes, I had the talk whenever I was young too.
All right. Well,
I'm grumbling as I strike this torch.
So, as you're preparing to move into this cave, how are you advancing? What is your marching order?
Well, again, unless somebody wants to take it, I take point.
All right, so we got Thorgarn. Who's next?
I'll probably follow behind then.
Next.
I think Fig would be next.
All right. Who's taking up the rear? Talmud, Griveth, in. Okay. So, how quietly are you moving through this cavern? All right, I'm going to need dexterity checks from you all again.
Stealth checks or just the old basic
Or
dex?
sorry, stealth.
You just want me to, keep rolling with disadvantage. All right, that's a 9.
Wow, 15 disadvantage.
All right, Thorgarn's a 9. 15 for Griveth.
Dirty 20.
20 Fig.
Out of 5.
And Talmud.
Talmud got a 17.
Still squeaky.
She slows down and it just gets worse.
So, just so you guys and for people in the audience, generally speaking, with group dexterity like this, unless somebody gets a critical fail, it's kind of unique because we have 5 people here. So I'm kind of looking at the party advantage. If you skew higher, more successes than failures. As in general rule, this isn't an always rule. There are exceptions, but generally speaking, you guys will probably be okay. But it skews the other way too. Of course, you guys don't know what the DC is, but nonetheless, that's kind of how I'm treating stealth checks. You begin moving into this cave. It is wide at the opening, mostly due to rain and wind erosion over time. The stories have told that the orcs tunneled through the back of the mountain over 100 or nearly 100 years ago, when they snuck in and put everybody to the sword. These walls of this cave are barely a dozen feet all around. Rough cut by unskilled digging hands. Almost an assault to your dwarven mining senses. And the tunnel digs down into the mountain for nearly 500 feet before you begin to see, that it's opening up into a cavern. You can see that the cavern, as you start to glimpse into the cavern, you can see that there are, Griveth's torchlight seems to be bouncing off from chips of precious stones all throughout the walls of this place. Everything has a sort of damp look to it. You can hear the dripping of distant echoing water. In places, water flows in thin sheets very slowly along the walls to some unknown area. It's definitely cool and damp down in this area. You begin moving into the cavern proper. You're in an area right now that is it opens up into an area that's about maybe 15 feet by 20 feet, 20 feet stretching in front of you. There's a sort of 10-foot wide opening. Then you can see beyond that it just opens up into a much wider, broader cavern.
When it opens up, can I begin inspecting for, tracks or sign of anything else that might happen to be here?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a survival check.
So I'm gonna whisper to Cantriel and kind of tell her what I'm doing. See if what do your elven eyes see, and I'll roll with advantage.
Yep.
Damn, that's my 4th 20 tonight.
Nice.
So that is a 24, sir.
You see several sets of old tracks leading in and out of this area. that have a sort of reptilian footprint to them.
Reptilian.
In and amongst them, you also see, again, very old, but you see the large paw prints of a very large bear.
So a bear and some kind of reptilian lizard folk. Interesting. So, Cantriel, what do you think?
Well, the tracks aren't exactly fresh, and clearly this place appeals to many types. And I'm going to tow one of the lizard-like tracks. Perhaps best to let everyone know what we're coming across and see what they want to do as well.
So we make our way backwards so that we're not progressing the sound, forward, and we'll relay that we're seeing sign. The lizard folk things seem to be older. Is that the case, Jake?
Yeah, both the bear, the paw prints, and the lizard folk tracks, or lizard-like reptilian, I should say, tracks appear to be older.
But they're like like two footprints, not 4, right? We're talking about a humanoid. Do I gather that?
The reptilian tracks? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now,
for some reason, I thought you were asking if it was a humanoid bear.
well, there are werebears, my friend.
It is now. No.
I can tell you from personal experience, they do stand up on their twos every so often.
Yep.
It's why.
Bear lady.
So we're looking at old tracks, but if we know orcs came through here and scaly folk came through here and bears, wonder what else we're gonna see. But just keep your eyes and your ears peeled for sounds and tracks and anything moving that's not us.
And what do we do if we see one?
Make sure everyone else is aware.
Okay.
And try to make yourself look as scarce as possible. You don't want them seeing you.
So, have we come across, like you said, that it opened up? Have we reached a choice as to where we have to go, or is there still just one
Are you
path?
continuing into the... Right now, it just opens up into the larger cavern.
Yeah, we're moving forward.
All right. As you are moving into this open area, Thorgarn, to your right, as you are moving south, to your right, it almost looks as if there's the cavern. So the cavern opens up, and you can see kind of to the southeast, there's 3 different small sections where pathways lead out of this cavern in various angles. To your right, to the southwest, there's a much larger opening. There's some rocks that are kind of piled up against the wall. And one of these rocks almost seems to peel away from the wall and lunge at you as you step through. And as it does so, its skin shifts from a pure grayish rocky tone to take on almost a yellow and scaled reptilian, as it is going to make 2 attacks on you.
Okay.
The first attack is a natural 19, so that's a 23 to hit.
Yeah.
As this thing lunges at you, you take... it rakes its claws across you for 6 points of slashing damage. And as it gets in close on you and rakes its claws, it also sinks its teeth, or attempts to sink its teeth into you. And I believe a 16 is just enough to hit you.
It is.
So you take another 6 points of piercing damage. as this creature, this sort of foul-smelling reptilian creature, attacks you. And I would like you all to roll for initiative. Let's see. What did that's what Griveth, what'd you get?
I got 11.
Cantriel.
16.
Big.
11.
Thorgarn.
19.
Talmud.
I rolled a 20 for a total of 22.
As this thing launches and attacks, you all can see as at least one other shape seems to look almost like moving rock, camouflaged against its skin, camouflaged against the rock walls, and it's moving to the slightly to the eastern section of the wall, and it is going to be, of course, Talmud going first, followed by Thorgarn, followed by Cantriel, followed by Big and Griveth, and there you go. Talmud, what are you going to do as this thing detaches itself from the wall and attacks Thorgarn?
How wide is this hallway?
You're kind of in the opening now. He passed through. You're in a larger cavern where he's in an area that's about almost 20 feet across now.
Okay.
And this whole cavern is almost 50 feet long, and at its widest, probably about 40.
So there's plenty of room to get around everyone.
Oh yeah, you can get around them, get into the fray, move around.
He's already had Goethe out since they've been expecting trouble basically since they came anywhere near the mountain. So he's then going to kind of have to look around everyone to kind of see what's going on, because at first it's just kind of a loud scuffle. And then he realizes that there's actually combat happening, and he's going to peel off from his position at the back and kind of run as fast as he can around everyone else. He's going to actually pass whatever this creature is and try to move around behind him, kind of putting the creature between himself and Thorgarn. And then he's going to attack with Goethe.
All right.
Okay. Oh, that was really close. The first one's an 11.
That is going to hit.
Oh, sweet. And then the second one's a 21.
Definitely going to hit.
Beautiful. Some damage then. That's going to be 12 points of bludgeoning on the first one. And then the second one is 13 points.
You swing Gerta in two rapid successive blows, and the third thumping sound you hear is this creature hitting the ground as you quickly dispatch it. Thorgarn, this creature attacking you, suddenly drops to the ground under Talmud's vicious blows.
Very nice. Now, did you say there was another one that would look like it was moving off to the side?
You saw the movement of one moving to your left towards a. As you look that way, you can actually now see that there is a small, about 10-foot wide pathway that it is moving towards, or rather, it had darted into as you came in and got attacked by this other one.
And how far away is it?
It is about 20 feet away.
All right, I will charge it.
All right.
We can't have this thing, running off and, telling on us. So my first attack roll is a 25.
That's going to hit.
With my primary hand, second attack is a 10.
That is going to miss.
All right, so we know its armor class is 11. And then a 19.
Yep.
My offhand attack. So that is going to be 11 points on the one and just 2 points on the other.
You make your attacks on this creature, and it has a this creature has a very thick reptilian body, a bipedal humanoid shape, but it has this sort of narrow, flat head, very wide mouth that opens wide, with a crest across the top of its head. And its skin seems to sort of shift. And you notice as you came around the corner, as its skin shifted into almost from this rock look to match a strangely wood. As you realize, as you came around and attacked it, it was standing next to a gate. And it's still standing there, and it leans, as under the force of your blows, it leans against this gate. And you hear as the gate swings open.
Suck.
And the thing behind the gate is I can't speak. Allow myself to introduce myself. It is the thing behind the gate's turn, is what I'm trying to say. As from the shadows of this cave behind the gate emerges, and you can see it with your dark vision, the pinpoints of light in its eyes, as you hear a as a large brown bear lumbers through the gate and is going to shoulder past the creature, the troglodyte, and it is going to attack you, Thorgarn. As it lunges in, it first tries to rake its claw across you. I will use this d20. Let's see. That is a +6 to hit.
It's gonna miss.
With a 15, it just rakes its claws across the front of your armor. Not enough to sink in and catch.
That's all weapons. The difference between 15 and 16 is me wielding 2 weapons. So that's all weapon parries.
In between your weapons, it attempts to get its mouth in and get a bite on you with its second attack. With an 18 on the die, that is a 24 to hit.
That'll just barely get me.
Just barely. You are going to take...
Have him re-roll.
Do you want him to re-roll?
Yes.
All right.
All right, so we will blow a domain die. And as this thing is getting its head in to attempt to bite you, you have your weapons, the way you have your weapons raised up, you've created this almost like cross parry, and it can't, I mean, it's slavering, snarling maw, the way bears peel their lips back as it roars in your face. Its hot, fetid breath and spittle coming across your face, but it does not sink its teeth into
Nice.
you. It is
V and Jeremy are demanding that you look at the proper accounting because it's 2 for us to make you re-roll.
Oh, you are correct. Thank you. I've got to remember that. So you guys are now at. I'm just going to do a little.
I think we should be at 20.
Yep. So what I'm doing is that one. I like to see a lot of them up there. It looks better. All right, you guys are at 20 remaining. Thank you for being honest on the accounting of the domain dice. As we move on to at the same time this is happening, Cantriel, it is your turn.
All right, so seeing the bear come out and seeing that the troglodyte is still...
You don't see the bear.
I don't see the bear.
No, because there is a... This is why I really want this stupid map thing working. There is a small... Like, Thorgarn basically went around the corner into a small passageway that you can't see into. You can definitely hear it. But this is happening at the exact same moment.
So hearing this sound, can I move forward to see what's happening? Enough to look around?
Yeah, you can move into the room.
Just to sort of look, not move in fully, but look in and see, just to see.
Oh yeah, yeah, not into that room, but yes. And as you come around, you would see the bear lunging out and attacking.
Then I'm going to, looking at the bear and seeing the troglodyte still up, I'm going to cast Bane on the 2 of them.
You're casting what?
Bane.
On the
bear and the troglodyte.
Okay.
Because it can up to 3 creatures of my choice that I can see within range. They must make charisma saving throws. Whenever they fail, target's going to make it fail the saving throw, attack roll, or saving throw before spell ends. Target must roll a d4 and subtract the number. So basically, you roll a d4 with your attacks and subtract what it comes up with.
Okay.
Because troglodytes are all about that charisma.
Well, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, too much bookkeeping here. Did you say there was a save on that?
Yeah, charisma saving
okay,
throw.
Yeah, the charisma.
And that's going to be up against a 14.
So that's going to be a 10 from the bear, so that's a fail. And the troglodyte is also a 10. So they both fail, and they're both baned.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm actually... Go ahead with the rest of your turn. I'm actually going to get this so you guys can see this cavern.
Are you putting that up? Cool.
I will,
So
yes.
basically, like, seeing what's going on, she'll just start singing, I have truth on my side, you only have defeat. And there's going to be like this wispy green smoke coming from her hands, and it's going to sort of like encapsulate their heads and fade into their faces.
Nice. So then it's going to be, it is going to be, let's see, that was 3. Fig, you are up next.
Fig is, I assume that he's in a position that he can't see the bear either, or?
That's correct, because you were further back in the
But
area.
I'm sure that he can hear what's happening, so he's going to move so that he can see both the bear and the troglodyte. And he's just going to look at them and just kind of tilt his head for a moment, and you can see that his chest opens up, and you see these gears moving and whirring, and there's a little bit of a dial on one, and he takes the dial and he turns it, and you see this emittance of this force energy hit the troglodyte and the bear, and his gears inside of him actually start to move slower and start to tick slower, and he's going to cast slow on the bear and the troglodyte.
Nice.
And they have to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, well, let's see. For the troglodyte, that is a 14.
They get a minus
is-
D4 too, don't they?
Oh, yeah, sorry, because of the Bane. Thank you. So that is a 13.
That's Phil.
And the bear, and the maiden fair, that is, so you can see it, a natural 1.
So they
So yes, they both failed.
So their speeds are halved. It
Okay.
takes a -2 penalty on AC and dexterity saving throws, and it can't use reactions. And on its turn, it can use either an action or a bonus action, but not both.
Wow. I'm familiar with slow, but I've never actually seen it used, so that's pretty awesome. Real quick, I think I got this set up so you guys can get a sense of what this particular battlefield looks like. So this up in the upper left-hand area, that is where you came through. And then where it opens up wider is kind of where where Thorgarn got attacked by the first troglodyte. Looking over to the right, you can see where there's that kind of kidney-shaped cavern. That is where the bear, the troglodyte, and Thorgarn are in that little rocky sort of cavern where the gate was open. That's kind of the bear's lair. And so Fig and Cantriel are kind of down in this, kind of in the middle of this larger cavern in order to be able to see those enemies. And you can see now where to immediately to the left and down to the south where all these other openings are. So hopefully that gives you a little bit better sense of what this battlefield looks like. As we move on to, at the same time, Fig's going, Griveth, you're up.
All right. So is it kind of a choke point there? It's not like would be hard for me to get in there.
Into where the bear and the troglodyte are.
Yeah.
You could get around Thorgarn and engage with the bear or the troglodyte.
Okay, cool. Are the bear and the troglodyte pretty close?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty tight thing. Basically, the troglodyte got pushed up against the wall when the bear came out to attack Thorgarn.
Okay. So, all these guys, they see in the dark, so they reacted much faster than I did. I'm seeing all these shifting shadows and everything in this dim torchlight. So I finally realize what's going on. So I get over there, and you hear the chinking of my mail as I kind of jaunt over. And then I'm gonna go for the troglodyte first. So I swing Bradford's Honor. And that is a 13.
That's against the troglodyte. That is a hit.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I got 8 points of damage.
Let's see. You quickly, as it's leaned against the wall, you just slip Bradford's Honor in between its ribs and withdraw it, pulling back a bloodstained blade, and the troglodyte slips to the ground, dead.
Okay, I give a wink at the dwarves, and then with my second attack, I'm gonna hit the bear.
All right.
Oh, bam! That is 25.
That is gonna hit the bear.
All right, let's give me some damage. 9 damage.
All right, 9 damage. As the bear roars in pain as you strike it. Is that it?
Yep. And I'm like, flank me!
2 more troglodytes move from within the wider cave, and they're going to attack Cantriel and Fig, who are kind of out in the open in there. I'm trying to remember. I seem to have lost track of Talmud.
Am I near them at all?
No, Talmud, you were where you had knocked out the first one. So, no, you're not anywhere near them because you went into that little side cavern
Gotcha.
to engage. So, one is attacking each of you. That's 2 attacks against each of you. Cantriel, the first one comes out. Its bite attack is a 16. And it's immediately going to try to sink its claws in, but it can't quite get them in with a 10. But you do take from its bite. Whoops, that's the wrong die. You
Sorry,
take
something I forgot to mention. I'm just reading more of the spell. It just keeps going. Regardless of the creature's abilities, with slow, it can't make more than 1 melee or ranged attack during its turn.
Okay, these 2 were from further in the cavern and were outside of the effect of your spell.
Oh, I'm sorry.
These 2 came from the southern part of the cavern.
Okay, all right.
They were camouflaged, so you guys are quickly seeing that these troglodytes have a chameleon ability that they can blend into the stone or their surroundings, and then they sort of peel away as and revealing themselves as they attack you. So these 2 are not. Only the bear is currently affected by your slow. So you do take 8 points of piercing, Cantriel, as this thing bites you. And you can smell this sort of acrid stench coming off of this thing. The other one is going to make its 2 attacks against Fig. That first attack is an 18 on the die, so that is a 24 to hit with its claws. And then a natural 1 as it attempts to bite you. So, on its claw attack, it is going to do... Oh, you know what? Let me back up. Would help. So on its bite attack, Cantriel, you do not take that damage. Because that was not a 16. That would have been a 12. I was looking at the bear stats. I was looking at the wrong stat block. So a 22 is still going to hit Fig, I'm sure. Sorry. So yes, Cantriel, no damage. It failed on both of its attacks. The troglodyte does bite you. You deal 1d4, or rather take 1d4, 3 piercing damage from its bite. But you hear a tooth crack as it bites into your metal structure. It does pierce through some of your outer shell. As it goes to swipe at you, it's kind of confused. And it reels around, swinging wide, opening itself up to an opportunity attack from you.
Yeah. How close is it?
It's right next to you.
Melee, yeah.
It just bit you, so it's pretty much right there.
Okay, so I think the only thing that Fig can do is Fig again is going to... It, like lightning quick, opens up this little cartridge area and just kind of stab at this thing.
Okay.
That is a 14 to hit.
That is a hit.
And that is going to be 6 piercing damage.
Yes. Wunderbar. So that is the end of the troglodytes go, as we are now at... We are back at the top of the order. Talmud, you've seen these 2 troglodytes rush out and attack Cantriel and Fig. You can see a bear that Griveth and Thorgarn are in this small side cavern. What are you going to do?
Well, I think Thorgarn and Griveth probably have the bear handled, at least for the moment. He's going to try to close with the nearest troglodyte, whoever that might be. He's going to take his first attack against it. If by chance it happens to fell it, then he's going to try to close with the second one and take his second attack against it. If not, he'll take his second attack on the first one.
Which one are you attacking?
Whichever is the closest to me.
I'm going to say that's probably the one that's attacking Fig.
Okay. So yeah, I take the several steps towards this one, kind of bringing Goethe along just above the floor, and then kind of use a little bit of my momentums for my step to swing upwards at this thing with a 19.
Absolutely hits.
Touching. All right, that's going to be 10 points of bludgeoning damage.
You slam Gerta into the side of its head, sending most of the rest of its teeth flying, and it skitters across the floor, unconscious or dead.
Do I have enough movement remaining to close with the second one? The one that was on Cantriel?
Yes.
Because I have 35 movement because of fast movement.
Yep. You can absolutely get to the second one.
Then he kind of takes almost like a shot putter or a discus thrower. He kind of uses the weight of Gerta to swing out wide and kind of use that to spin himself around and close with the second one. I'm going to spend one of my points of inspiration.
Okay.
That's a little better. 12.
That's enough to hit.
Glad I'm not fighting the bear. All right. Yes, that is 14 points of damage that time.
All right. Gerta slams in, and you see Cantriel as Talmud comes out of nowhere, knocking the one dead, and swings and slams into the one next to you. It turns its attention. Hold on. It turns its attention towards Thorgarn. Towards Talmud. But we are going to swing over to the cave and the bear and Griveth and Thorgarn. Thorgarn, it is your turn. Against this bear that seems to be roaring in your face, spittle flying, but it's now more like as it seems to just be slowed down. Its lips flapping in slow motion back and forth. What are you gonna do?
I'm not thinking that this is a good round for me and hitting. I have 3 rolls, all of them pretty bad. I have a 13, an 11, and a 14 against the bear.
Well, especially given that because of the slow effect, the bear's AC is reduced by 2. All 3 of those are going to hit.
Yes! I forgot about the lowered AC. I'm like, I don't get the ability to hit this thing any easier, do I? Wow. All right. So that's going to be... do you want this all together or individually?
Yeah, you can give it to me.
So it's 8.
Actually, let's do them one at a time, just on the off chance that you kill this thing. You might actually be able to direct one of those attacks elsewhere.
Is there anything left?
There's still a troglodyte out in the other room.
Oh, he Talmud
out behind you.
Off?
Nope, he only killed the first one.
Okay. All right. So 11 damage.
All right.
7 damage.
It's still up.
8 damage.
Moving in slow motion as your attacks seem like a flash next to this thing. Blood sprays away from it, and it doesn't seem to have reacted yet because it's moving so slowly. But you can see that it's not dead yet, despite your 3 vicious attacks on it. And it is both yours, Cantriel, and the bear's turn simultaneously. You are currently, Cantriel, engaged with a troglodyte.
Right. And the bear is still under bane.
And the bear is still baned and slowed.
Yes. Okay. So I'll go for the troglodyte with my rapier, since it's pretty much right on top type of situation, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Also, actually, neat little side effect of troglodytes. This smell that is emanating from it is horrific, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, okay then. So let's just roll these all together and see. Okay, so the Constitution save is going to be a 14.
You almost feel sickened by this stench, but you're able to push through it and suffer
Okay.
no ill effects.
Okay, and then the rapier, right? Okay, so the rapier is then going to be a 14 to hit,
That's going to hit.
and then that's going to be 4 points damage.
You slide your rapier in and out, and blood begins to pour out, and it just sort of chitters its teeth, but doesn't die. Meanwhile, well, do you have anything else?
Could I do an offhand with my dagger?
You absolutely can.
Let's do that. All right. So that is a D4. Okay, so then that's going to be 14. What is this 14? 14 to hit.
Yep.
And then that is 3 points piercing.
As you rapidly follow through with your dagger strike, as you're pulling the dagger out, the troglodyte collapses at your feet. Simultaneously, this, and correct, I believe you mentioned this earlier, Megan, but part of the slow effect is it has to choose one of its attacks on a multi-attack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is absolutely going to attempt to swipe a claw in slow motion at Thorgarn, who has just viciously attacked it. It's baned dex. All right, so that's not disadvantage, but it is a D4 subtracted. So I'm going to roll this and then the D4 along with it. So that is a total of 5 on the die with the bane. So a 13 to hit as you easily dodge out of the way as this bear and sort of slowly swipes at you. That takes us to Fig and Griveth. Griveth, you are immediately engaged with the bear. Or rather with the troglodyte and the bear and this, all of this. Well, no, the troglodyte, you're killed. You're in it. You're in this shit. So what are you gonna do?
Okay, so when that bear tried to go after Thorgarn, I'm going to use my sentinel attack and do an attack on it before I take my turn.
Oh, nice.
That's an 18.
That's a hit.
And that is, ooh, nice. 13 points of damage.
How many points?
13.
You can see that you've struck a devastating blow to this bear, but it does not want to give up yet. So that was your sentinel attack. Now it's your turn.
All right. Bradford's honor is coming down. That is a 12.
Well, it also has the reduction to its AC, so absolutely hits.
Nice. Ooh, not so good. 6 points of damage.
Griveth, the Knight of Smite. How do you want to end this?
So when I do the attack after Thorgar gets attacked, it's a pretty nice blow, and this blow was like it almost lodged into the bear. The sword, Bradford's honor, almost lodged into the bear, and I kind of just like almost just like removed it as like a removal strike, and it slashed it as I moved it out. I pulled the bear out of its hide, and it just makes one last poor whimpering and just a huge thud right in front of Thorgarn. And I'm like, yeah, that's how we do it, Thorgarn. They call me the Knight of Smite.
And
Remember that.
And then Thorgarn remembers where he saw you.
and as the bear drops dead to the ground and you say these words, that is where we are going to end tonight's session. Welcome to the Glitterheim. Which is a good idea for the title for the next episode. Welcome to the Glitterheim.
It is.
I'm going to actually write that down so I don't forget it. Yeah, so fun fact, you guys completely missed the entire first level of this dungeon.
What?
Or did you? Welcome to the...
Does it have doors?
Oh God, no more doors.
Yeah,
I
heard you guys have
literally
problems
put...
with doors.
I mean...
We do.
We're the
if you
door
re-
bashers, not the Dawnbringers.
If you remember, Lothrak, the orc, said that he was heading up the path to the main entrance that they call the Mountain Door.
Mhm.
Which I figured is probably why you guys were like, nope, no doors. As you can see,
No.
as you can see, looking at the map screen over here, there's no doors.
Nope.
These are caverns.
Jake replaced all of the doors with bears.
That's right. I got your number. All right, so you guys, that was a wonderful wonderful session. You got some info, some intel from some orcs, a little bit of a callback to the Sunless Citadel with the elf pudding, some fantastic role play mixed in there as well. I love this whole group, the way you guys RP all this. There was whole sections there where I'm just sitting here. Part of me was waiting for a pause to go, all right, well, you guys, all right, here, we'll do this. But you just kept role playing it, and I'm like, this is awesome. I'll just see what happens. And then, yeah, you guys wound up finding your way into the back entrance to the Stone Tooth Mountain. And you're there. It only took 4 sessions to get you inside the mountain. So, and just to be clear, both for you, the players, and for anybody watching, this isn't a guaranteed 12 episodes per season, just so you don't think, oh, they're running out of time. The number of episodes is dictated by how long it takes the players to get through a given adventure. So we'll see what happens.
No, we're going to get as far as we possibly can, and at the end of 12 sessions, that's it.
Yep.
You're done.
Yep. So thank
We got through
you.
the first cavern.
Exactly.
Thank you, everybody who tuned in tonight for the follows. I see XCRBGX followed the channel. Thank you for that. You guys used about 3 of your geez. My latent stutter finally came out. The domain dice. You are at 20 domain dice right now. I have a feeling you're going to be needing more of those. So thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to DM Scotty, V, Megan, Nerdarchist Ted, Jeremy. Real quick, I'm looking at you, Scotty. Tell us where we can find you on the interwebs, what you got going on as we head out of here tonight. I'm going to let Scotty go first. The longer you go, the less time everybody else gets.
No pressure. Sorry, I'm so stuffed up. The weather in Ohio is horrible, and I'm just like, I just caught some kind of thing, but I wasn't going to miss tonight. So sorry, I'm sneezing in I coughed a couple times and I didn't mute myself. So sorry about that. But yeah, I'm DM Scotty, and I have a channel called theDMsCraft, part of with Muse, the Crafting Muse on the Tabletop Crafters Guild. And you can find me on YouTube. Just type theDMsCraft, you'll find it. And then I'm part of the Quest Givers. So every month we have a module, which is brutal and fun, like writing a module every month. And not only that, we're writing mini modules too. So generally it's like 2 modules a month. So that's we're like illustrating them, writing them, and that kind of thing. So I'm just really happy with what Gareth and I are coming up with. But the next module is about to come out, and it's super fun. It has a lot of really cool traps, and these aren't like, oh, a dart hits you from the chest or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're really fun, like super fun traps. So I'm really proud of this one. And yeah, that's me. I'm DM Scotty. So check out theDMsCraft and Quest Givers. Sorry, I'm done.
Excellent. Megan.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan. I am one half of the YouTube channel Dice on Ice, where we put out a new type of video every week. A lot of it has to deal with advice for both players and DMs. And I also run a bi-weekly campaign of Curse of Strahd, which Jake is in. And it's a spooky good time. So check it out.
Excellent. Ted.
Hey everybody, if you like 5th edition content and stuff you can drop right into your games, check out Nerdarchy. It's, YouTube, social media, that kind of stuff, website, Nerdarchy. Look it up.
And I'm on there once a month in the RPG Crate game that we've got going on. So you can find me over there. Jeremy.
Yes, sir. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeremy. I run the YouTube channel, the Erasmus Expeditions. I have games where I live play as well as talk about gaming, a couple of crafting videos, things of that nature. I'm also 1/3 of the Dudes of Yore podcast with my friends Jeff Doty and Chad Nick. Come and check us out. As far as what I've got upcoming, tomorrow night I'm running a one-shot over on the channel that takes place in the same setting as one of my campaigns that's ongoing. It should be a lot of fun. And then on Sunday, I have DBJ coming on to do a help action video about exploration. So tune in for that because it should be a lot of fun.
That's going to be pretty awesome. DBJ is a powerhouse in using environments and encounters, and he's just got a wealth of information. That's going to be exciting.
I'm happy.
And finally, V.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for watching with us tonight. I'm V. I have the YouTube channel, The Crafting Muse. I show you how to make terrain, paint minis, and all that lovely sort of stuff. You can find me there. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. And my husband is making fun of me in the background. And next Thursday afternoon over on Scratch Channel, I'm going to be doing my DMing maiden launch. So if you want to come over and see me in the DM seat for the first time, check it out, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Scraticus Academy. So that's what I have coming up over the next week.
Excellent. And be sure to check out the Scraticus while you're there. Follow the channel. Scrat & Co., they have just tons of great games. V and Megan have both been on games on that channel. Timing hasn't worked out yet, but I've off and on I talked to Scrat trying to figure out a way that we can get together because I would love to play in their house. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and thank you to the players for being a part of the Dawnbringers, The Forge of Fury, Season 2, Episode 4, Breaching the Mountain. Happening every Thursday night. This campaign does at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. On Sunday nights, you can catch Megan, along with a few other players, in our Cult of Personality Tomb of Annihilation game. And on Mondays, you can catch Megan, V, and myself as participants in the Mike the Piper Run, All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. As Megan mentioned, I can be found over on Dice on Ice every other Tuesday. Next Tuesday being the other Tuesday. Once a month, I appear on Nerdarchy as part of the RPG Crate campaign that we talked about a moment ago. I also appear once a month over on Erasmus Expeditions to play in the Momentum Whispers and Fragments campaign, as well as occasional live crafting streams going on. I just had a live crafting stream on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/miniterrain domain, where I started doing proof of concepts for a new dice tower custom build, in which this is a primary piece, this 3D printed classic green devil face. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check out the channel. Be sure to subscribe. absolutely follow at MTDJake, at MTD_Jake on Twitter, because very soon I will be officially announcing the big giveaway for the channel as we drive towards 10,000 subscriptions on YouTube. All right, it's time to get out of here. We are going to end the stream tonight the same way we end the stream every night. And you can say it with me if you want.